Hi there, welcome. My name is Patricia Fenty, and in this lesson, I am going to start at the very beginning of crochet. And my hopes are that if you're a new crocheter, that I can teach you some really good habits to get into as you begin this really lovely craft. So I'm working with a number 4 worsted yarn and a 4mm hook, and you'll need a little pair of scissors, but you can use any size yarn and hook that you like. I will be doing a tutorial on yarn weights and hook sizes, but for now this is just a number 4 worsted and a 4mm hook. All right, so what you're going to learn in this lesson is how to make a slip knot, how to use tension properly, and then just a simple chain stitch. So you're going to start with your yarn. Now, starting with a slip knot, there are all sorts of ways to start a slip knot, and I see where people wrap them around your finger and you bring it through fancy like that. And but I'm a bit dyslexic, and I actually find that kind of awkward. So the way I like to do it is to just simply wrap it around my finger, bring the loop around my thumb, and pull. And it's just a simple little slip knot. So I'll do that again. So just wrap it around the finger, around the thumb, and bring the tail through the back. And there you go. And that gives you a nice little slip knot. And you always work with your tail to the right hand side, and you put your crochet hook in through the front and pull the yarn and tighten it up on the shank. You don't want to make it really tight, so it can move around comfortably. Now the shank of the hook, this is what dictates the gauge of your stitch, the size of your stitch. So when you're crocheting, you always want to bring it up on the shank. If you crochet down here, it'll be a really tight stitch. So you always want to bring your work up on the shank, and that will give you the size loop that you need. So the first thing is I'm going to talk about tension. So I see a lot of crocheters that don't actually use tension at all. They use yarn, they hold the yarn like this. And that's okay to do it that way, but you may as well get into a good habit of using tension. This is the way my grandmother did it, the way my mother did it. And it's just a really nice way to control how the yarn is moving through your fingers onto the hook. So you're getting a nice consistent tension. So the way I recommend, and this is right-handed, if you're left-handed you'll have to adjust that. So I start by wrapping the yarn around the baby finger like this, and then you turn your hand over and you go underneath these 2 fingers and bring the yarn on top of the index finger, just like that. So I'll do that again. So you bring the yarn around your baby finger, underneath these 2 fingers, and on top of the index finger. And what that does is that allows the yarn to pull through in a really nice consistent tension, and that makes for really nice neat crocheting. So all right, getting your tension set up, you're always holding your work between the thumb and the index finger. We're just holding the tail for now because we haven't really started. So now we're going to do a basic chain stitch. The way that I like to crochet is by setting up tension in this way, using my index finger to maneuver the yarn. I see a lot of people that will pick up the yarn kind of backwards and spin the hook around and grab it and bring it through. I actually don't even know how to do it, but I see a lot of people crocheting and they're flipping their hook back and forth, back and forth. And that's an unnecessary movement. And you could actually end up with some repetitive strain injury because you'd be going back and forth so much. The way I'm going to show you is you're going to keep everything very straight and in front of you. Your movements will be small and efficient. So the way I recommend to do it is you're going to bring your hook underneath the yarn and use the index finger to bring it up. And that's what we'd call a yarn over. And then you just bring the yarn through the loop, and that's your first chain. So again, it's called yarning over, but essentially you're putting the hook underneath the yarn and using this finger to tuck it under the hook like that. And yarn over, bring it through the loop. And again, you're holding onto your work between the thumb and index finger. So putting the hook underneath, pulling the yarn through, yarn over, just like that. There we go. And that is a chain stitch. And that's a very basic foundation of crochet. No matter what you do in crochet, 99% of the time you'll start with a chain stitch. So you can just practice doing your chain stitches like that. And you can see that the yarn is moving through my fingers nicely. I'm controlling the tension nicely. And you keep your work close together. You don't have to have your fingers way out here. You don't have to be wrapping the yarn like this. You can just keep your work close and use your hook and this finger, and it's a very efficient way to crochet and without causing any unnecessary movements. And when you have a chain stitch like this, there's essentially 3 pieces. There's top posts and a back post. So there's 2 top posts and a back post. So there you go. That's the very basics. And in the next lesson, I'll show you how to work off of this and do a single crochet, a half double crochet, a double crochet, and a treble crochet. So I'll see you in the next lesson.